Tim Ball, the Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs in Victoria. Great to have you with us again on the Flow Network.
Good morning, Ricky. Great to be here.
Now, unfortunately, what's not great is we've had to go back to discussing this topic of commemorations. We talked about this leading into ANZAC Day, and now there's still uncertainty going into Remembrance Day a month from today.
Yeah, look, that's absolutely right. And the last thing that we want to do, by any stretch, is politicise either ANZAC Day or Remembrance Day. They are days that are so important to so many people for the right reasons. But what we do need to have confirmed for us is what the allowances, or on the other flip side, restrictions will be relating to Remembrance Day services. Now, it's not far away. We've had our last two ANZAC Days and last year's Remembrance Day severely restricted. And we just have nothing coming from the government in relation to it. So what we're calling for is a bipartisan approach to this. We need information on two fronts. The first one being, by that stage of the opening up roadmap, we are meant to have 50% venue capacity at events. Well, everyone would know that cenotaphs aren't venues that have a venue capacity. So a lot of RSL sub-branches are asking what will be the limits that they can have at their Remembrance Day services. And the second element of this is that government has clearly stated that only people who are double vaccinated can attend such events. So RSL sub-branches are asking who will police that at their Remembrance Day services, and will they be forced to turn away either veterans or their families who aren't double vaccinated by November the 11th. And we just want some direction from this government to let our sub-branches and their members know what is proposed on this very important day.
Well, as of Monday, this new vaccinated economy trial's underway. I know at the Terminus Hotel, I think it is at Witcherproof, they're one of the trial sites for checking whether people are double vaccinated. 4 weeks on, do you think the government's going to have the staffing available to help RSLs around the state monitor at Remembrance Day events whether they've got double vaccination or not?
Well, I think what needs to happen is, first of all, we need to have a discussion on who will be allowed to attend the services. Is the double vaccination rule going to be strictly enforced? That's the question that everybody's asking, because then that will be, I guess, a major factor in the level of checking and the level of enforcement that could possibly be needed. So that's the very first question to be answered. In relation to these vaccination trials, we've announced that we're going to have 10,000 on course for the Melbourne Cup, and look, I'm not opposed to that as Shadow Minister for Racing. It's also one of my portfolios, and we want to see the racing industry back up and running. But surely we should have, for less than a little bit over a week later, we should have some clear directions on what's going on for Remembrance Day. That is a day that is not at one location like Flemington Racecourse. That is a day where we have a number of commemorations right around the length and breadth of Victoria in communities of all shapes and sizes, and that is certainly something where we need to have some absolutely concrete direction given to those many volunteers who organise these services and commemorations every year.
Yeah, one would think at a memorial or a cenotaph at somewhere like Oyen, people are going to be covered in face masks and socially distancing and all of those COVID-safe rules. You'd have to think, given the virus generally doesn't travel in a public open space, they're going to be as safe as houses while attending a service like that.
And look, you would certainly think, Ricky, in line with that some common sense will come into play here. But according to the roadmap that's been put out, it has very strict criteria around it in relation to the double vaccination, but also in relation to attendance limits at events. So I think it's very fair and reasonable that we get some answers. And this isn't a political comment. This is just a comment where we want to work with the government to make sure that as many people as possible can attend Remembrance Day. And I hope to catch up with the Minister at Parliament this week.
Would there be a case for the government to maybe help with the funding of these events? I'm thinking about PA systems. To be fair, some people tend to be harder of hearing the older they get. If they're having to social distance, would that be a way of helping getting those things done in a COVID-safe way?
Yeah, look, all those sorts of things would certainly be beneficial. What we need as a start, and look, a lot of sub-branches already have those PA systems for such events, but all of those little things that can help sub-branches prepare for the day should certainly be looked at. Before we get into any of that, let's first of all announce if Remembrance Day is going to look like it does in a normal year. If that's the case, we probably don't have to make those special exceptions because it will run as normal. And you know, our RSL sub-branches do a great job. The volunteers do a great job organising these services and remembrance ceremonies for our various conflicts year-round, really. It's not just ANZAC Day and it's not just Remembrance Day. So let's just first of all make a decision on what it's going to look like for these larger and smaller sub-branches, and then we can get into those specifics of how we can help out where help is required.
Well, Tim Bull, Shadow Minister for Veteran Affairs in Victoria, please keep us updated on that front, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks, Ricky.